it play and call it work.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the first impressions of Order Battletome Kharadron Overlords. This is actually a little special to me, and I'll get to why in a moment. But just so you all know, what we're going to cover is we're going to flip to the book and give you our first impressions, basically, kind of a mini review. And just, so I know if people comment on this, we won't be covering absolutely everything.
Oh no.
Because we can't just read the Battletome. We're not
This
going
is
just read.
complex. There's way too much going on in
And this one, yes, that's the other thing too, is this one actually has... It was overall okay. When I first cracked it open, I'm like, oh, I don't want to play this game tomorrow.
Right.
I actually said that. Like, this is it's
too much.
It's not that bad. I don't want to exaggerate it too much, but it can be a little.
It's very similar to how they were when they first came out. I think like a year and a half ago. Something like the timeline. Something like I could be off. I have no idea. I'm just actually randomly guessing. When that book came out, it was very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Very hard to grasp. It's a bunch of minor abilities that all amount to something much bigger. And then if you don't remember a number of those, then well, you're kind of screwed. Well,
they even want you to use a core rule of the game that actually I bet you most people don't even know the rules for.
Exactly.
Garrisoning, which we'll get to, which is a big part of this army now.
Right. I got to imagine they only threw it in there because it was no one's using it. Let's just force it in somewhere.
Maybe. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. It has a lot to do with the ships and how they transport now.
It works very well.
Either way, my opinion, I like to give my opinion at the beginning of the video and see how much or if it changes at all by the end of this video. So right now, Luka and I have already played one game. It's in the MiniWarGaming vault. You can go ahead and click. It's actually, you can watch it right now if you want. Or you can wait to the end of the review and then go watch it. Now, from that one game I played, and going through this book for a little bit of time, I guess it's a short amount of time, I think very powerful.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of how they first came out right away. It was immediately powerful. Then people started finding the real nasty things to do.
As always, I always say that. Like, comment below if you found anything yet. But yeah, there's gonna. I can't wait to see what some of you come up with.
And those all got rotted to the ground.
Oh,
that's what the previous story of the Kharadron Overlords were.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See if we can find any. So just one more reminder that there is a game right now with the brand new Kharadron Overlords against Luka. It is a 2,000 point game. We originally planned on playing 1,500 points.
Right.
I just didn't want to play. I kept adding more to my list.
I had no problem. I was playing Bone Reapers.
Yeah, Bone Reapers. Now, if you're not already a Vault member, you can click the link below and get yourself a 7-day free trial. Watch the bat rep. It will cost you nothing. You can cancel immediately afterwards. It'll be absolutely fine. So the video is free if you want to watch it right now.
We just find that most people stick around for a little bit longer.
It's true.
There's lots of other stuff going on there.
Get trapped in there.
As well as like the Zinch review coming out shortly. Actually, that might have already come out. We have no idea. That's
interesting. I'll man the curtains a little bit. So right this moment, as we're sitting here talking, Matthew and Vito are doing the Zinch review, and whoever gets done first gets put up first.
Yeah, it's kind of like a race.
So I'm not sure if right now today is Saturday or today is Wednesday.
It's true. It could be anything for you guys.
So if they reviewed their book faster than us, this is Wednesday. If we reviewed faster than them, this is Saturday. Actually, there you go. There's a little hint. If this is Saturday, stay tuned Wednesday for the Zinch review. And if this is Wednesday, did you miss the review of Zinch on Saturday?
Go check it out.
Yeah, go check that out.
If you're curious. Maybe they're strong. Apparently they're strong. That's what Matt said.
Yeah, actually, I don't know yet, but that's what. Yeah, we heard them talking a little bit. All right, so the first thing we're going to cover is the Allegiance abilities. I am not overly familiar with the previous Kharadron Overlords abilities.
Right.
Luka is more familiar.
I played about 10 games, maybe 12 games. It was mostly as a joke because they were always regarded as like one of the worst armies in the game. Yeah. At least in 2nd edition Age of Sigmar.
Those who've been watching MiniWarGaming battle reports for a while know that I intended on playing Overlords previously.
When they first came out, that was the whole goal. Yeah, that was your army.
I bought a bunch of ships, a bunch of sky ships. The list just wouldn't work, so I just stopped playing them.
Yeah, because you didn't have that. Then you realized, oh crap, these aren't battle line. I have to bring these.
Well, I also had 30 units of the company.
Right.
I had 3 units of 10 of them, which always intended to play with them. But I mean, previously Overlords just if you wanted to bring any ships, you were
really nerfing yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Old Overlords, you're on the ground.
I'll say this: everything looks good, but those ships look good.
Well, the ships are better. The ships are much better.
Without giving spoilers, we already know that. Of our game that we played that's in the vault right now, I'll tell you all that my list was almost exclusively sky ships.
100%. It was 3 gun haulers because they're battle line. It was 2 frigates.
Battle line in the Skyport that I played.
Right.
Yeah.
2 frigates and then the newer... They're all new, and the new Ironclad.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had 1 unit of Thunders and a character.
Yeah, that's true.
That was my whole 2,000 point list. So you can, right now, heads up, play with just ships. But let's get into the rules that these guys have, the new Allegiance abilities. So if you're going to play Kharadron Overlords, you can pick a Skyport. There is 6 in this book.
It seems like there's more than that.
I know.
Right?
Well, there's a lot.
When you flip through the pages.
This Battletome has the most rules before you get to the War Scrolls.
Yeah.
It has page after page.
It's got a lot of stuff going on here. So it's got 6 different cities. These are all the same cities from the previous book. And the rules are very similar. I shouldn't. The same idea of how they want to play are there, but the rules have changed to better represent that.
To explain, first of all, are the stick to the codes new?
The stick to the codes.
So you have the article.
They've always had that before, but those themselves have been changed. Now there's only 3 articles. I think there are 6 of each before.
So if you're
there's 5 or 6 of each before.
So just to explain, for those who are not following along, if you're going to play your own Kharadron Overlord, make up your own little city, or Skyport, you can pick 3 rules. It's basically it's called stick to the code. What you got to make your code. What are your article? You can roll a D3. You can pick one of the 3 special rules. Yep. Then you can pick an amendment. You pick one of 3 special rules and a footnote. One of 3 special rules. Right. Any of the cities have
their own.
I think all of them have them set.
They're keeping a lot, because I'm pretty sure in the previous Skyports, you'd have this one, you have to use this amendment, but this one says you have to use this this footnote, or this one has to use that.
So the ones right here have them completely rewritten.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they've been clearly rewritten, and it's going in line with the rest of the Battletomes that have come out recently, whereas like if you have a certain legion or a house or a clan you're from, you have a relic, you have a command ability. It's not like you have one or the other, like the Daughters of Cain did.
Gotcha.
Or like how these first came out, because I think that this was the first book that came out a long time ago that had those organized forces in cities.
Way back then, yeah. So actually, let's cover these because it'll give an idea of how these are going to work out for the rest of this book. So when you create your stick to the code in Little Skyport, you pick one of 3 articles.
Yep.
The first one is called Honor Everything. You can reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made by friendly Kharadron Overlord heroes that target heroes or monsters. So your heroes can reroll 1s to hit heroes or monsters.
Right away, not a huge fan of that one.
Yeah.
Because your heroes aren't the best.
Master of the Skies, you can reroll 1s for attacks made by friendly sky vessels that target units that can fly. It's not bad.
That's not a bad one.
Because the sky vessels got a lot of attacks.
Oh, yes.
There's also Settle the Grudges. After the armies are set up before the first battle round begins, pick 1 enemy unit. You can reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made by your overlords against that unit. The amendments, you want to go with the amendments?
Yeah, so like I said before, there used to be 6 of these. Now there's just 3 each. Yeah. And if you pick a Skyport, the Skyport ones are very different from these ones as well. Yes. These are for your own custom one. We have always take what you are owed. You pick up to D3 different Overlord units in your army, and then each of those units start with 1 share of Aether Gold in addition that they normally would receive. Now, Aether Gold is something we'll get into in a minute. That's another ability that they have access to.
So far, that's actually pretty good.
That's not a bad one, considering what you can do with Aether Gold. That's 2 turns, or they could be useful, kind of thing. Prosecute wars with all haste. Like, these are very similar names as they were before, but completely different rules. We have in your first turn, friendly Kharadron Overlord units can run and still shoot later in the turn. I think that's actually near identical to what it was before.
Okay.
Because I remember a lot of people, there was the option to run and shoot turn 1. It was pretty much turn 1. You'd have your chemist in the 1 city port that you'd pick one thing. Everything within range of this chemist would then reroll hit rolls against him, and it was like their thing. And then trust in your guns, or trust to your guns. Add 1 to the bravery characteristic of friendly Kharadron Overlord units while they are more than 3 away from enemy units. Nice. So when they're not in combat, they get +1 bravery, which is good against shooting.
So you pick in 1 thing from the first chart, 1 thing from the chart he just read, and then 1 thing from the footnote chart, which is going to be there's no reward without risk. Once per battle, you can reroll charge rolls for friendly Kharadron Overlord unit. There's also there's no trading with the same people. Once per battle, a friendly Kharadron Overlord unit that has run or retreated in the same turn can still shoot and or charge.
Now this is the one that everyone pretty much took before, but it's been completely reworked. It used to be when you wounded something and it didn't die, it would take an extra D3 mortal wounds as like an extra crap's got 1 wound left, just kill it.
I was talking with Josh about this morning.
Yeah.
Without your ships, we are not. Once per battle, you can heal D3 wounds for 1 of your sky vessels. So you pick 1 from all 3 of these charts. They don't really stand out spectacular.
No, not any of those are really that great. I got to imagine, like all the other books, a lot of the people out there, anyone who's going to get into Kharadron Overlords again, like dust off your old models, or you've been thinking about getting to them this whole time, you're probably just going to pick a Skyport, which everyone does, and then you're just going to use that article, that amendment, and that footnote for that Skyport. These ones are not bad. I'm sure maybe there's something out there, but these don't seem outstanding. These don't blow me away.
Well, the only way I'll see you ever using these is if some of the Skyports, not all of them, require a command trait or the first relic or first.
Yeah, and they have that restriction as well.
So if you really want to use someone else, I mean, I just don't think you can see a whole lot of these. There's a lot of Skyports that are just quite good.
Right.
Okay, so that's one of their, Legion's abilities. Their other one, their main one, their good one.
Yeah, this is incredibly good. Aether Gold is a brand new mechanic for them.
I love it. So the Aether Gold, it's called Aether Gold.
This brings them in line with the other armies as well. Instead of having just one battle trait that did nothing, now they have technically 3.
I love it. It's. I think it's my favorite thing so far I've seen in this game.
So it's pretty much every Overlord, each of your sky vessels, or every unit that has 10 or more models gets or is a character and heroes as well?
Characters and heroes. Heroes.
A hero, so it's, any sky vessel, hero, or unit that has 10 or more models gets an Aether Gold marker. They start with 1. Obviously, you see there's ways to get more on units.
The Sky port that I played, I didn't know how good this was going to be, gave me D3 more as well.
You got to distribute them more.
I got to distribute them
more. Oh, that's really good. Okay. So with these gold, or these Aether Gold markers, you're allowed to use 1 per phase, or you're allowed to use 1 on a unit per phase, and it allows you to...
I'm going to clarify that just so it's really clear. Because you may have 10 units in the field, and maybe all 10 still have their Aether Gold.
Right.
Per phase, only one of them can activate it.
So like in a shooting phase, you can use 1 on 1 unit. On the combat phase, you can use 1 per unit. Movement phase, you can use 1, all that stuff. It allows you to use a Triumph from the Triumph table for that token. You use the token, and you get the Triumph for that unit.
The Triumph you have to pick.
Super powerful. So like Bloodthirsty, Indomitable, Inspired, or Cunning on heroes is really good too.
So in our game, I had an opportunity to use a Triumph to reroll saves for my unit.
And it helped huge.
It did very, very well for me. Yeah. I used, I think, 3 times to completely reroll hits.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Now, when you use these Aether Gold to use a Triumph, it supersedes the rule of once per game per Triumph. So you can use the reroll hit for every Aether Gold you have.
Yeah.
Or the reroll to wound, or reroll saves, or the
whatever you want.
It's so good. And if you can use them early, you really put the hurt on your opponent if you want to go for the offensive way. Now there's a downside.
There's a downside. If you choose to use your Aether Gold up, your bravery characteristic is lowered by 1 permanently for that unit. Is it per? So say you have 2 or 3.
I would say yes.
Yeah. When you spend 1 of them, you subtract 1. Yep.
Permanently.
So say you have 2 or 3 Aether Gold markers on a unit. If you use all 3, then you're down by 3 bravery. Now, the Skyport you were playing, don't suffer that penalty.
Again, not intentionally. I'm not trying to find the perfect combination.
Right.
The reason why I played that Skyport, I'll actually let you know now. I wanted to have an army with mostly, if not all, ships. And the Skyport I played made gun haulers battle line.
Which is critical.
Which also made me ignore the penalty for using Aether Gold, and then gave me D3 Aether Gold. I just went around.
Not that it would matter too much for your single models for the bravery, but like there's spells and things that hit bravery and like affect bravery, stuff like that.
Give me D3? Oh, we'll get to that later.
Yeah. Which one were you playing? You're playing Barrack Urbaz?
Urbaz, yep.
Yeah, you're playing Barrack Urbaz. That's the 4th one on the list there. That's it for their allegiance abilities. That's all they have their Skyports, obviously, which change up a lot.
Should mention, though, no training, I've noticed.
There's no training.
No special training rule to tell you about, and no endless spells, so no new models whatsoever.
Do they have
there's a new character.
But he comes in the Aether War box.
Yeah.
So there is one new character, but
he's kind of beefy.
Knowing the way Games Workshop's been going recently with this, that character is going to be hard to get your hands on unless you buy the Aether War box.
I don't expect to buy it anytime soon. Basically.
Or even
that's frustrating.
Like even well after that box comes out.
I mean, we still at this point can't buy James R. We still can't buy James R. I will poo-poo that. I don't like that at all.
But yeah, I could be wrong. This guy could come out
100%. And you know what? If we're wrong, good.
Yeah, this guy could come out a month from now, and then you can buy him separately. But you know what? If you're going to look into getting into Kharadron Overlords, you're probably going to be splitting that box with a friend who wants to play Siege anyways.
Actually, the box isn't terrible because the rules are...
You get cool stuff.
It's a pretty good box. It might be worth buying. But I hate that you have to, either way. All right, pouring through the rest of the artifacts and command trait type things. A lot of pages here. So we have 6 command traits if you're for an Arcanaut Admiral.
Right. You have one for an Engine Master, one for a Navigator, one for a Chemist. So you have lots of different...
6 per.
Yeah, it's 6 per. So there's there's a lot. There's technically 24 different command traits here. But it all depends on what character you have. And the same is going to be true for the relics.
Almost. So there's...
Oh, we have a little bit less.
Yeah, there's 6 relics for the Admiral. There's 6. It's hard to explain. 6 for the engine master, and 3 for the chemist, and 3 for the navigator.
So yeah, you get
tons.
Different options based on what kind of character you really want to put them on, which it's
You know
very
what?
familiar.
Okay, so without being overly familiar with Kharadron Overlords and how these interact, I think there's going to be a lot of fun in those. Not going to lie, so they're pretty good. But I want to get far more familiar before I go into all of them.
Most people are going to have to buy battalions though to get access to those if they're going to be bringing the Skyports.
Well, okay, so battalions. Well, we'll get the battalions. I actually like the battalions.
Yeah, the battalions seemed good. I glanced at them earlier. I'm like, I could see every one of these. Oh, other than the big massive one that's like.
Oh, those! I stop including those Games Workshop. Come on.
No, they should include them. They should include them. But like, that's only for like a 5,000 to 10,000 point game.
Whoever plays that.
I have it myself. Right, like neither of you.
I think a large game. I played a regular game with 3,000. No,
game?
I played a 3,000 point game once, and then against Constantine we played. I can't remember how many points it was. It was a ridiculously big game, but we used also I can't remember what the rules are called.
It's like a gathering of might.
We used the special apocalypse type rules,
right,
where his skeletons did all the work.
when you get one skeleton in range, all 400
I could
attacks.
put 427 attacks on your one lord there. I'm like, oh, I'll just pull him.
I'll just pull.
So no, I want to roll, and we rolled in the hallway. There's also a page of Great Endrin. I can't.
Endrin works.
I know, but like intentionally. Okay, Endrin works.
Endrin works.
So if you're familiar, we had previous books that gave special rules to like mounts and stuff, like big monsters. Same thing, same deal.
Yep. These were the first to do it, actually. The Kharadron Overlords
makes sense.
When they came out in their first book, they had the Great Engine Works, and a lot of them are a lot of them similar. Anyone who's curious, the last word is exactly the same, but it only works on ironclads. Because
the last word is
the last word is like Steve didn't even notice it because
I should have used it
when Steve was building his list. He told me what he had and all the engine works. I'm like, oh, I didn't even say anything because I'm like, oh, they must have nerfed the last word because
I was so overwhelmed. There's so many pages. I'm just picking things, right? Like
So the last word only works on the ironclad, but that's the thing you want to put it on anyways.
Probably so it only works on the ironclad's cannon. But that thing got good.
That thing is like super freaking good.
Well, I'll get to that.
We'll talk about how.
So there's 3 engine works. Sorry, there's 6 engine works for the ironclad, but you can use that one every time. Even though those are good. There's 3 for frigates and 3 for gun haulers.
You know what? Maybe people get to the point where they just don't want to charge ironclads anymore. They'll have like engine riggers on there.
Buddy,
and, like,
okay, so again, we talk about the game a little bit because I don't think it's a bit of a spoiler, but it's not that big a deal. It's rough charging them if your opponent only ever rolls 4+ on his bombs.
So little defensive bombs is so obnoxious. Pretty much the same across the board on those bombs. They streamlined them.
I remember they were good. They streamlined them. They're easier. Yes. They're better.
They were different based on what ships they were on, and then they affected you differently based on if you had fly or not. And it's very simple, basic rule. Very effective though, especially from the ironclad.
Next, we got 6 skyports.
Like I said earlier, these are all the same.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go over the one I played real quick, just to give you an idea. So I played the Market City Brak Urbaz. They made good haulers battle line. It gives you special ability. The one I got, like we already told you, I don't suffer the -1 penalty by bravery for spending Aether Gold. And that would have mattered with the way I made my list anyway, I don't think, and the spells you had. Whatever. But it's the Kharadron code for Brak Urbaz. It tells you what article, amendment, and footnote you must have. And it's different from the one at the beginning of the book.
Right, and these are all like I'm curious if some of them use. No, maybe not.
Well, okay, so I'll say this about the command trait. Previously, we've always seen if you take this whatever, your command trait for general must be blah.
Yeah.
That was not. It's not that for the one I played today. That's not the case. If your general is a chemist, this is the command trait you must have.
Right, so therefore you're free to do it.
I took an admiral and I chose what I wanted. Though this is not bad if you want to bring a chemist. And then instead of forcing a relic upon me, it instead said the first Endrin.
The first Barak Urbaz sky vessel to receive an engine work must be given the breath of Morgrim.
Yeah. So, which I never had a chance to use it. Not that it really mattered. But I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, it's just like so. It didn't force a command trait upon me. It forced a command trait if my general was a chemist.
Yeah.
It doesn't force a relic on me. I can still take a relic I want, but my first engine work must be this. So they're a little more looser than they were before.
Right.
They're not as regimented as we've seen previously. I think this is a positive change.
That's not true for all of them, though.
No, I know.
It's pretty much, it's only Barrack Urbaz so far, and like Barrack
really?
Ziflin. Yeah, like Barrack Ziflin says if you have an Admiral, you have to take it, but like the previous, there's a couple other ones that are like, you have to take this command trait.
Okay, well, I expected some of that too. I mean,
Right, yeah.
But I mean, again, there's 6 of them here. I don't see much point in going all of them. I mean, we're going to find cool combos with them in the future, so
Right.
They will try most of them.
They all play vastly differently as well. So if you had built a list for a certain Skyport back in its previous rendition, you could probably still play that list to the exact same standard, but just overall better, because everything is just a little bit better in this. Or, in some cases, a lot better.
Yep. Okay, it's time to get into the war scrolls. We're going to start off with the battalions. A couple are mediocre. A couple, I think, are really, really good.
Yeah.
Only 4.
Is there really only 4?
Oh, but it's only 4.
Wow, they're trimming these down more and more and more.
Yeah, but the thing is like 2 of them I would use. Like I don't like.
Yeah. Well, you literally used one of them.
So I did. So the Grand Armada.
No, you're not going to use that in a normal game.
Nobody's ever. It's the one where you got to use a bunch. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
every book has one. Okay, so we'll go down top to bottom. There's 3 others. The first one's I don't think it's any good. It's the Iron Sky Command. It requires a lot of things. You can bring a general or Brock. You have to bring an Ironclad. 3 units combined of whatever. I don't care. 1 Arcanaut Company. 1 to 3 engine riggers.
And its ability is not that great. You don't take battle shock tests for Kharadron Overlords while they're wholly within 18 inches of the Ironclad from this battalion. This is mostly there to fill out the command aspect of the Grand Armada.
100%. I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
That's the only reason it's there. Unfortunately, that means Kharadron Overlords only have 2 battalions.
Right, but they're both really, really good. Okay, let's talk about the one that's not the best, but I used it and it's actually quite good. The Gunstock Escort Wing. Grund. I can't say it. Grundstock Escort Wing. It's not that expensive. I think it's like 140 points. It requires 2 to 3 Grundstock gun haulers, and they were my battle line, so I was happy to do it.
Right.
You have to have 1 Arcanaut Ironclad or Frigate. I brought an Ironclad.
Because why not?
Yep. And 1 unit of Thunders and 0 to 3 Skywarden units. It was everything I wanted to bring.
But you didn't take the Skywardens. You chose not to take them.
I chose not to bring any Skywardens, yeah. So at the start of your shooting phase, you pick 1 enemy unit for this battalion to focus fire on. So this battalion picks a unit, and then you reroll ones to hit that unit.
Yeah,
it's almost an auto-include.
That reminds me a lot of the previous... I can't remember what Skyport did it, but they'd have a chemist, and if they were all around this chemist, he would target something, and they'd all get to reroll against that one target. So it's very similar to that.
So if you're watching this really early, you haven't had a chance to get your hands on the book, you're like, oh yeah, that doesn't sound... The shooting wasn't that powerful. The shooting is really good now.
Oh yeah,
that's why the Sky Vessels are really good with the shooting now.
Now, for the one that we think everyone's probably going to run, this one's got the most flexibility as well.
There's so many different ways you can play this one.
Mostly to note, because frigates can be battle line for one of the cities. And you're going to assume that they're behemoths, but they ignore the behemoth tax when they're battle line.
Ooh.
So there's that to consider.
Oh my goodness. So I think if I'm going to, though I like the list I played today, this one here, Iron Sky Attack Squadron.
I'd play this one for sure.
Oh, it is so good.
So you need minimum 2 frigates, and for every 1 frigate you bring, you need 1 Arcanaut Company, and that's it. But it's 2 plus frigates. So you can have 5 or 6 if you had the points. What it gives you, Arcanaut Company units from this battalion can leave the frigate from the same battalion before or after it moves. The after part is nuts.
So full stop. We have to explain that.
Yeah, that's true.
So before we continue on with this battalion, I guess, because, we all have to look this up, we better explain the garrisoning rules.
It's a rule that's not always been in the game, but it's been in the 2nd edition.
Yep.
And no one really uses it. I know there's probably a lot of you out there that do use it. This book itself uses garrisoning and triumphs, which a lot of people don't use triumphs, I think, as well.
I've never even bothered with them.
Exactly.
So garrisoning, and any infantry unit, or you guys, can garrison frigates and ironclads.
Yep.
You just got to move within 3 or 6 of them, and you get on. You're mounted inside the vehicle. There's a cap of how many models can be inside a vehicle. Like, for example, an ironclad can hold 25.
Yeah.
Now, you probably don't ever want to have 25 in the vehicle because
it has different rules.
You know what? There's so many layers to this. This is why it was kind of overwhelming.
Right.
Because I'm like, well, why is that good? Reading this. Well, I don't understand that. And I got to back read this. Yeah. So there's reasons you want to be inside of vehicles. When you're inside a vehicle, you can fire out of them.
Right. So
your eyes are going to be basically open topped.
All the vehicles are open topped at all times.
So you want to garrison I just tripped over my own tongue. So you're going to garrison these vehicles by entering them. Now, before a vehicle moves, you can disembark from a vehicle. Just exiting the garrison. The battalion we're talking about will allow you to move the vehicle
and then
exit. You can only do that if you use this battalion.
Which literally everyone is going to use, I imagine, because of good firepower, especially on the little carbines on those frigates. A lot of good firepower on them.
There's a couple moments in our game today where I'm like, oh man, if I could move first and then get out, there would have been like a major difference in the way the turn played out. So I just wanted to. There's more to talk about with garrisoning. And we'll get to that when we get to the vehicles, but I wanted to explain that the fact that you guys can get inside these vehicles, but they cannot get out if the vehicle's already moved.
But this battalion ignores that.
I
mean, it also lets you charge 3d6 inches.
So that's another one. The battalion also is it the company or the?
Yep, it's company only that they let the frigate from the same battalion the same turn. So you get 3d6 charge on the turn you leave a frigate.
All right, so you got incredibly mobile, great firepower. 3-6 charge in your Arcanine company, grabbing objectives when you need them. Like, this thing is, mobility wins the game.
Who they themselves have pretty respectable firepower as well, the Arcanine company.
Yeah.
I think that this battalion is probably the best one. Now, like I said earlier, there's only really 2 battalions in here.
There's 2, but I bet you, I'm willing to bet right now, at least one of these are going to be used in everybody's list.
Yeah. I would not be surprised, especially that way. If you're playing a Skyport, you get to pull from other artifacts in the generic, the neutral ones, I guess.
Well, one way or another, your battle line are filled by this.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's true.
If you want your grunt stocks to be your battle line, you're using this one. If you want your company to be your battle line, which you already are, you're going to use that one to give them some mobility, because frigates are just great as well.
Or if you
want frigates to be them, like you got more battle lines.
If you're gonna be the Skyport that have frigates be your battle line, then all of a sudden you're gonna have 4 battle line just by bringing the base frigates.
That's the thing. You can buy just 2 frigates and 2 units of company, and you have a fantastic start. Core army, 1 character, and you're good to go.
Yep, and that literally that. That's I don't know how many points that is.
So I'm going to say battalions, even though 2 were kind of whatever.
Well, they're mostly there for like the narrative, something like an overall like supreme command sort of.
Hey, when there's 2 battalions that by no means seem broken, but we'll see what happens with the movement thing. But like I want to use them every game. I'm like, that's what I want to see. I like that. All right, well, we got a new character, but he's been heavily covered on the Warhammer community site. It's really cool, though.
Engine Master with his fancy suit.
See what you can buy him, though. That's the big deal. The next thing I would like to talk about is the Sky Vessels, which...
That's all Steve cares about.
Honestly, that's all I care about. Like, I bought a bunch of them a long time ago, and now I get to use them. They're fantastic. So, the Arcanaut frigate, I think it's like 240 points, 250 points.
Now, the ships did go up in points.
Yeah, 250. Yeah, they did.
But for a good reason.
So it has 14 wounds now with a 4-up save.
Did it have 12 before? I can't remember its wounds before, but it had a 5-up save before. Now it's got a 4-up. Both the gun hauler and the frigate have a 4-up save instead of a 5-up now. These are not made out of 2-ply aluminum foil.
No. Yeah, they're quite durable actually today. Their wound chart will not affect their shooting.
Nope, it's their mobility that it affects, and their bombing, and their boarding
and their close
weapons.
combat. Yeah,
it didn't really affect their shooting either. All it did was affect their movement, which was like their base character. Now there's a whole lot more to their movement other than just moving X amount of inches.
It affects disengage and fly high, but there's so many layers to this. So this is hit 1 point at a time. Let's talk about the guns first. Yeah, we'll do the guns. So. If you have the cannon, which I think most people used before, am I wrong?
Yeah, it was the Skyhook or the cannon, but everyone pretty much used the cannon. It was like sad 1-shot cannon, hit on 4, wound on 2, -2 d6 damage.
It was a really rare Age of Sigmar 1-shot cannon.
It was a single shot cannon
profile.
Yep.
So now it has 2 fire modes. You can fire a single shell or a shrapnel shell, which is d6 shots. A single shell
hits on a 3. That's
wounds
a good
on
one.
a 2.
Yep.
-2 d6 damage. Just what you expect.
So it's pretty much the same, except it hits on 1 better.
Yes.
Than it did before. 30-inch range still, I believe, is the same.
Or you can do d6 shots that are only 24-inch range, 3s and 3s, -1, 2 damage.
Which is way better.
I think it's way better. I use that, almost every time I fired. I don't think there ever occasion popped up where I wanted to fire the single shot.
Now there's different. The 2 differences. The single shot is higher rend by 1.
By 1.
So if you really need to kill a single model.
Yeah. I almost did, but yeah.
And it's got longer range by 1/2 foot. So it's 6 inches longer range. So if you just can't get within 24, we still have that single shot to go with. In fact, I'm pretty sure their cannons before were like 21-inch range. Or is it 24 to 27 because you increase the range of their guns? It wasn't 30. I'll tell you that. It was not 30-inch range on their cannonballs.
Yeah.
The single shots.
So It's good. The multiple shot it was just so reliable.
I think the shrapnel is way more reliable.
Now, when I first read the next weapon, you can have the cannon or the Skyhook. It's 20. It's basically the single shot cannon profile.
Yeah.
Except for it's 24-inch range. I'm like, that's just, why would I ever do that? It's garbage.
But
if you have a Skyhook, you add 2 to charge rolls. And I'll explain to you why that's amazing. Like, absolutely amazing. You give us some of your firepower, but these vehicles have a rule called fly high.
Yeah.
They can leave the table and just like fly away and come back on the same turn anywhere on the table 9 inches away from your opponent.
Right. And if you have the Skyhook, well then
you have a 7-inch charge.
You have 7-inch charge
But,
to get where you're
but
going.
you're like, okay, so this thing's probably not that great in combat. They're not. The frigate has unwounded, 8 attacks, 4s and 4s, no rend. Why do I want it in combat?
Right.
Well, when you got somebody garrisoning your frigate, they go into combat with you. Yeah. So the frigate charges with a 7-inch charge, and maybe you have a bunch of engine riggers on
something nasty. You have Arcanaut Company with the like little pokey spears. Sure.
Exactly, and like you got a really powerful unit fighting in combat. Now,
and it's hard to hit that unit on the ship because they have garrison rules.
So the garrison rules, I mean, you pause the video and read them up yourself. If you're garrisoning something, you're -1 to hit, and you're in cover. You have +1 to your save. Are you in cover, or does it take you +1 to your saves? This matters because you wouldn't get, if it says you're in cover, you wouldn't get the save when you charge.
You
But
probably.
I think it says you get +1 to your saves.
We'll double check.
So that's something worth checking. Pause the video and double check that. It's free on your app. So if it says cover, you don't get it on the charge. If it says +1 to your saves, which I think it does, then you get it when you charge. Now there is a transport capacity. For example, it's 15 models can embark upon the frigate. However, if there is 11 or more models in the garrison, it may not fly high. There's too much weight.
Right. So yeah.
So there's two thresholds for everybody. Like the Ironclad is like 25, 16.
I would imagine that most people are going to keep their threshold below fly high because
Yeah.
fly high is very good.
Oh
Now-
my goodness, super mobile.
The only other thing is they do suffer a lot when they're wounded. So these vehicles, albeit very good now, once they're at half health, they lose almost all their utility. So when they get to half health, they lose their fly high rule,
Only the fly high they lose.
and they lose the disengage
Not
after
the-
half. After half.
Yeah, no. You have to have suffered 10 to 12 wounds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
Okay, so
yeah.
so disengage. You also have the rule called disengage. We can explain that. When they retreat, they can still fly high or shoot, and guys garrisoning them can still shoot.
Yeah.
However, if they were engaged with something that has the fly keyword,
you can't disengage.
they can't disengage.
Because it's tiny.
Also, like for example, once the frigate has 14 wounds, once it suffered 10 wounds,
2/3 of it's
it can no longer disengage.
Yep. So it can still fall. It can still retreat from combat, but it can't shoot.
And lose the disengage rule.
Right. Yeah.
There are a lot of layers here. The bomb racks are streamlined.
Yep.
Now, at the start of the combat phase, for every unit that charged at the start of the combat phase, you can pick a unit that charged that is in within 1 inch of this vehicle, and you roll a die. And a 4+ suffers DT mortal wounds.
And it's
super streamlined.
It doesn't matter if it has fly or not anymore because it used to do something different if it had fly.
Right, there's two different bombs. So the gun hauler, the frigate, and the ironclad all have the exact same one, except they have a slight modifier.
Yep.
The frigate unwounded will add +1 to the damage roll, that D3, and the ironclad adds 2. But they'll lose that actually relatively fast.
Yeah, they do. Like the second the frigate takes 4 wounds, it loses +1, and it goes to -1 once it takes 10.
Now the gun hauler, it doesn't have a garrison ability.
No.
But there is a great engine work that can give it a garrison of 5.
That's so weird.
Yeah, a little tiny one if you want it. I think it was 5. The gun hauler, which is only 150 points now, is 10 wounds with a 4-up save with a 12-inch move. It's actually really good. It has the exact same cannon as the frigate.
Yeah. It just the main difference is the fact that it bombs a little bit less and it doesn't carry people.
It doesn't carry people. It's half as many close combat attacks.
Right.
Oh, there's one more gun we forgot to mention. The ether shot carbines, which they all have, is 4 more shots than the Arcanaut. 3s and 3s, -1, 2 damage. It's only 12-inch range though.
So yeah, the carbines before, if I recall, they were 3s to hit, 4s to wound, -1, 1 damage across the board. And now that's the same on the gun hauler, but the frigate is now 3s and 3s, 2 damage, and then the ironclad has that but more shots. So that I think is the biggest, like the most powerful.
It was so useful today.
Yeah, because that was
so
doing
useful.
a lot of damage.
The gun haulers carbines are almost the same profile. It has 1 less to wound and 1 less damage.
Yeah.
But the Ironclad's carbines, it's just the same thing, only has 8 shots. The
Yeah.
Ironclad is just a beast.
The Ironclad has way too much firepower. Now, speaking of its firepower, it's great cannon.
It's a great cannon. Okay, so you know how we said the great cannon on the frigate and the Ironclad is D6 shots that do 2 damage, or it's 1 shot that does D6 damage?
Yeah.
Ironclad has the exact same thing, except for it's 6 shots that do 2 damage, or 1 shot that does 6 damage.
There's no random factor
It's a 6 every time.
on its weapon. It's always maximum amount of shots or always maximum amount of damage.
Whether it has 18 wounds, whether it's in 3 up save now, 3 up save. Whether it has suffered 17 wounds or 1 wound, it could have 6 shots hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, minus 1, 2 damage. Its shooting is never affected.
510 points though.
And it's worth it.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. Yeah.
You can have 16 guys inside of it shooting out with you.
And the 16 don't hinder it, do they?
No.
That's really good.
It's 25, 16.
You can hold up to 25 and 16s where you want to be. Okay. That
Same
makes
thing
sense.
with the Great Skyhook. The Great Skyhook doesn't do D6 damage, it does straight 6 damage.
And does the same
and
thing.
then
where
plus
it pull-
2
it
is
pulls
charge.
you in, yeah.
You also have the Great Volley Gun. It's 18-inch range. It's 4d6 shots. 3s and 3s minus 1 damage. I think I like the cannon more.
That's kind of cool though, because it's.
I'd rather have the 6 shots.
It's 14 shots with that great volley cannon. Usually.
But half to, like 1 damage instead of 2 on
Right.
yeah, it's not terrible. But this guy also comes with torpedoes and carbines. So he has 8 carbine shots to the 4 the frigate gets, and the torpedoes is 4 torpedo shots.
And I think the torpedoes are pretty much the exact same as they were before.
Were they 4s and 3s minus 1d3?
Yeah, I think it was very similar to that. Maybe
Tons of firepower.
Yeah, it's got lots of guns. Lots of guns shooting every turn, especially when you combined a lot of command abilities.
It can
and rerolls.
disengage. You can fly high. You have units inside that can shoot. I mean, the firepower I had today was just obnoxious,
Now-
especially with the ether bolt.
One thing I want to note, it lost its flagship orders. It used to have flagship orders. It could do in the hero phase, like raising this color flag to tell the other vessels to do this. It doesn't have any of that anymore. So it's lost its flagship rules, which is fine. It's got a lot of other stuff going on already. It's just less to have to worry about. And I remember, if I recall, those flagship rules weren't that great. They were very minor. It was like, and they don't have batten down the hatches anymore
Right,
either.
yeah.
Yeah, they don't have that.
Whatever. I got 18 wounds and 3 up save.
Yeah,
We have guys that can garrison it. For everything you lost, you gained way more.
100%.
So the reason why I talked so much about the sky vessels is that's what I was most familiar with in the previous edition. Nothing but boons and increases as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
This army is the shooting army now for sure. Now there's probably a bunch of
always
changes.
Skaven. It's always
You're
Skaven.
right. You're right. Yeah, I can't forget the rat people. Now there's probably a bunch of changes to the infantry, but I want to try them out a lot before we get into them. I do think that. I do know that the Skyfarer stuff used to like latch on to vehicles and move with them. They don't do that anymore. When a vehicle flies high and they're nearby, they can transport with it.
Yeah, if they're within 6 inches, they throw a hook onto it and they fly away with it and they appear where you appear.
Or they can just garrison like everybody else.
Yeah, there's that.
Because I definitely want to try some frigates with some hooks.
The close combat. Okay, yeah.
And then like throw on like a whole squad of engine riggers and have the frigate just fly high 9 inches away from a backfield
And
objective.
then the engine riggers come off
charge
and start
in,
attacking.
and,
Yep.
and there are ways of getting rerolls and charges and stuff. Like
Oh, yeah.
that's it's gonna be dirty. Like we've seen some in the last book of Slay the Darkness. Like they almost guaranteed charge with the
Marauders.
ability to reroll charges. There's some command abilities. He's gonna have an admiral, and this new +2 to your charge and the firepower of it, plus the close combat prowess of the engine rigger. Like that can be pretty dirty.
That's a 7-inch rerollable charge. It's pretty reasonable, I'd say.
You get. That's something you're not gonna get it every time, but you're gonna get it most of the
You
time.
get 'em- It's not quite Marauder level.
No, I mean 75% of the time it's not terrible. Actually, a little higher than that. But so the close combat ability is here. It's not a big spammy army.
No, he says you're not going to spam. Now, it used to be very spammy. This army used to spam Archon Company and Aether Chemist.
I think you still could though.
So the Aether Chemist I wanted to talk about got, I'm going to say nerfed.
Well, okay. Yeah.
So what the Aether Chemist used to do before is any enemy units within range of it lost an attack, down a minimum of 1. Now it's -1 to hit, which is differently good based on the situation. It could be an enemy that only has 1 attack. And the other one is the Aetheric Augmentation. You used to pick a unit, and then every weapon of one type in that unit would get +1 attack to its characteristic, which used to stack, and then that got FAQ to not stacking anymore. Now you just pick a unit, they reroll wound rolls of 1. So that is a huge nerf.
Okay, so I there's one more too. Thunder we're gonna talk about
Oh
actually.
yeah, the Thunders are cool.
Maybe yes, that was a nerf, but the way the army's gonna work now, I
Right.
suspect that might have been way too powerful.
Oh, 100%.
Could you imagine ships just flying forward, giving extra attacks to things that are garrisoned on top of it? And like, no, I think you'd have to get rid of that. Like,
I'm more than
played
happy to
one
see it
game
gone.
today, and I'm like, these guys are really good.
Oh, yeah.
The Thunderers did lose their like, let's get out of here type rule. I can't remember what it was called.
I can't remember what it was called. It was kind of like they instead of fighting, they would just leave.
retreat?
They would just
Yeah.
leave combat. They can't. They have to fight now. They
I
can't
don't
do it
know.
anymore.
I'm pretty sure that choking fog is new for them. If you have any, what's it called? The fulmigators.
The Aetheric
If you have any-
Fumigator.
no, it's fume. Oh, it is a fumigator. Oh my god. Shamu Solari.
Yeah, that's fair. I always have Shamu Solari on me. Shamu Solari. I'll never forget
So,
you.
if you have one of those, you just -1 to hit
The Thunderers.
the Thunderers in close combat.
Yeah. Yeah, because they just,
Also, but they have the drive them back rule. Instead of retreating, they get add 1 to attack characteristics of their missile weapons if enemy units are within 3 of them. Now it does not work if they're garrisoned.
right.
It says there somewhere. Actually, it's next line.
This ability cannot be used if this model is part of a garrison.
Yeah.
Now, drive them back is huge when they're just that extra shot on their weapons is nuts. Now, I think you played your Thunderers with pretty much just Aether shot rifles.
I had 8 Aether shot rifles, and then I had 2
just
Aether
random
cannons.
guns?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was just Aether cannons are like -2 D3 damage, so I had 2 of them.
Oh, it's like the one weapon. Yeah, because like every 1 in 5 can have one weapon, right? Yeah. So like you either play this unit with like 1 of every weapon, or you just have Aether shot rifles, or like what Steve didn't have 2.
I had a minor mix because there are bonuses for having 1 of every kind of weapon base. Well, almost every.
Is the Oh yeah, pin them, shred them, and finish them. It's that's their rule. If you hit with this weapon first, and this weapon does.
That's
this.
how it does anymore. Is if you have it's +1 to hit.
Is that all it is? They
Yeah.
add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with mortar. Yep, that's kind of lame actually. Okay. To be fair, the old rule was really hard.
Convoluted.
It was convoluted, hard to use, and kind of
Dumb.
broke how it all worked, anyways.
Yeah.
But now it's
Anyways,
just like
it's better.
you get bonuses to hit if you have all your weapons in there.
Okay, so all in all, my first impressions of this book is, that was intimidating at first, but then like I dig it. I mean, this was probably the least interesting army for me a week ago.
Yeah, it was.
Buddy, now I think I don't want to say like I'm gonna play these every time, but I dig the Overlords.
I think
Expect to see a lot of Overlords.
this
stuff.
is what they should have been. Well,
Yes.
okay, a lot of the armies coming out now are what they should have been when they came out.
The armies are really powerful right now.
yes.
Really powerful.
Yes, the
right
power
now.
creep is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
Like look at Bone Reapers. Look at like.
It's going to shake things up. It's not. These armies. This game is not really rock paper scissors, but they're going to have some scissors to their rock, or paper.
I think Nighthawk. If anyone's curious, I think Nighthawk's probably the biggest counter.
I will. Okay, so Luke and I will definitely play a game of Overlords versus Nighthawk.
Right.
Because maybe they are,
Because it
but
stops
maybe
their
not.
disengage.
Because it does. It'll shut down disengage because you can't. Your sky vessels cannot disengage if
Right.
they have somebody with fly.
And they also ignore the rend.
And you know a lot of the
heavy rend on their
But I mean,
attacks.
if you know you're going up against Nighthawk, you
Right.
just
You take the
drop
other
down
weapons.
to
Yeah.
more shots and stuff. I don't know. So you're right. I think they might be a counter. I don't know if they're going to be a hard counter, and there's only one way to find out.
Play the game.
Yeah. So that's it. That's our first impressions for this Kharadron Overlords Battletome. I think very positive. I'm super excited for it.
Yeah.
It's everything I want it to be. Maybe too good with the shooting, but I've said that plenty of times. So we'll see how it goes.
I don't want to see a good. I'll be honest. I do not want to see a good shooting army in this game. I want Age of Sigmar to be mostly close combat, and like Skaven are acceptable because they backfire sometimes. These guys, there's no backfiring.
So I'll minor spoiler. Turn it off now if you don't want to hear this minor spoiler of the Battle Up in the Vault. It was a much closer game than I had expected going against Bone Reapers.
Right.
Because they're really good. I'm like, my firepower was just tearing you up.
Oh yeah, I lost a
Tearing
lot.
through.
I lost a lot to that. Those shots were nuts.
It was, okay. So again, there's a battle report right now. Kharadron Overlords, nothing but sky vessels and some thunders and one character.
Battle for the Past.
Battle for the Past against OCR Bone Reapers.
I played Mortis Praetorians, if anyone's curious, which are the main legion,
Gotcha.
not the Petrofax.
Remember, if you don't have a Vault membership, you can sign up for a 7-day free trial. Watch that video; it'll be absolutely free. It'll cost you seriously nothing. And then look at everything else that's in there because I think you'll like it.
There's a lot going on right now.
Stay tuned for
Including fantasy.
plenty more of Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Warhammer 40K, everything we do here at MiniWarGaming. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Toodles.